person yet, and I'm really excited to be here with this new crew. You guys are the largest group of trainers that we've had so far go through this course. There's 36 of you as of today. Hi, Mary Beth. Mary Beth is our latest to join. Literally, she joined today, and I said, hey, there's a Google Hangout tonight. She's like, great, I'm on it. So, love it. So there are 36 of you, and if you have had a chance to read through the biographies of the people in this course, it is really quite a mix, and it's a great cross-section of what the trainers at PCA are like. There's probably no two trainers that have the exact same credentials. We've got everything from professional, ex-professional players, pro coaches, pro athletes, college players, high school players, people that have never coached above the high school level. And we've even had, the last course, we actually had a 19-year-old go through the course because she's going to be doing elementary athlete workshops down in Tampa, and we thought it'd be great for her. So it runs the gamut. And one of the things that's really interesting and fun about PCA is that the material that we share is, as you know, it's awesome, or you guys wouldn't be here. But no two people present it the same way. So I'm going to go through how to make you guys fantastic facilitators of workshops to the best of my ability. But I think one of the greatest resources that you're going to have are each other and sharing ideas. And as I said, the question number 2 for this week was, what do you like when you go see a workshop? Whatever you find that you connect to is probably what most people connect to. And if you've read through them, as I've been reading through them all week, there's a lot of similar things popping up over and over again. So we're going to talk a lot about that too. But okay, what I'd love to do right now is just to have you, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go left to right on my screen, which I think is going to be different than yours, but I'd just like you to say your name, where you're from, and what brought you to PCA. Why do you want to be a trainer? You don't need to give a big, long introduction. One of the things that we try to really work hard on PCA, and I'm going to be correcting you constantly, is to keep it brief. Because as workshop facilitators, we all love to talk. And we all have stories that we could probably talk to, sports stories, for 8 hours. But workshops are not that long, and one of the biggest challenges to a new trainer is keeping the pace. So if you wouldn't mind just in 1 or 2 sentences, just tell us what brought you here to PCA. So I'm going to start over here with Alfredo, if you don't mind.
Nice meeting you all. My name is Alfredo Zamora, and I've known PCA since back in 2000, but I followed doing some workshops, and now that I'm helping a nonprofit soccer club and in the mainly Hispanic community, PCA was one of the things that I wanted to bring in, and right away I found out that PCA didn't have any Spanish speakers, because our community is basically 90% plus Hispanic. The kids can handle it, but the parents, they basically speak Spanish. So I needed somebody that could help us out. And PCA was very helpful in bringing somebody that could, try to facilitate. But we figured we need somebody that can do a Spanish-only workshop. And going through that, I figured, there might be other communities that are in the same boat as we are. So I decided, myself and my brother, who was this morning with you guys, Luciano out in San Jose, decided to do it. Maybe we can help out the Hispanic community out here, being in PCA.
And we love it. People say that all the time, like, how do we get more Spanish-speaking trainers? And I say, well, are you Spanish-speaking? Would you like to be a trainer? That's literally how we get them. And I think I was telling your brother this afternoon too, or responding back to him, the neat thing is our goal for fiscal year 2016, we're now in the process of translating our coach's book and the parent book into Spanish. So that's going to be huge. And we have the PowerPoint for Double Goal Coach Workshop and the Parent Workshop translated into Spanish. It's not quite up to date where we want it to be, but it's the basic skeleton of the workshop that's now in Spanish. So we've had a few, I think we've got 6 bilingual trainers that I'm sure you and your brother are much more bilingual than they are, but we've got 3 from Mexico City, 1 in Minnesota, 1 in Chicago, and it would be great to have you guys on the East Coast, or the West Coast, I'm sorry.
That would be awesome. You'd be on board.
Yeah, thank you very much, because I know the trainer, I don't know if she's the one, but one of our trainers went to do a bilingual workshop, and she said, I think I can do it, I think I can handle it, and she said it was much more difficult than she expected, so. I have been told that I speak Spanish on the level of a kindergartner, so I would not be the one to. I took that as a compliment, but I'm not the one to do it. All right, Angel.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I actually got introduced to PCA because I took on a new role this year with my church's Agape Athletic Ministry. program. I am one of the ministry leaders for the program now. And as I was searching for different curriculums that were in alignment with the mission and values of our program, PCA was definitely one of those coaching curriculums that stood out amongst the others in terms of really fostering the development of the youth athlete participants, as well as engaging the parents in the curriculum as well. And then, of course, because my 9 to 5, I'm a sports psychology consultant, and I work a lot with collegiate coaches. Being able to use the principles alongside of my formal training in that particular arena is going to help me a long way. So PCA seems to be my catch-all for the different environments that I tend to navigate on a daily basis.
All right, and you live where?
I live in Atlanta.
Atlanta. So yeah, there are a few trainers in this course right now that are not directly affiliated with a chapter. We do not have a chapter in Atlanta right now, but we have 15 chapters throughout the country. New York just opened yesterday. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But by 2020, we're hoping to expand to 26 chapters in the country, and Atlanta is one of them. So within the next 4 years, there's going to be a corporate office in Atlanta. So
nice. And I literally just came from a meeting earlier today with the Atlanta Hawks and their owners, of course, Mr. Grant Hill and Stephen Kuhn, and they're talking big talk about doing more community initiatives, community outreach things. And so I think PCA definitely falls in line with that as well.
Absolutely. And we are affiliated with a lot of professional teams that have done grants. They have this need, and I think they have money just sitting around that they need to spend on outreach programs. And so we go, hey, what about us? And it works out really well. So yeah. That's great. Awesome. All right. Next we have Greg.
Did you say Greg?
Gregory?
Yes.
Gary.
Yes.
Greg, Gary.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
me?
Go
ahead. I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Well, thanks for having me, guys, as well. My name is Greg Gary, originally from New York. I now live in Denver, Colorado. I was going to say former athlete, but I guess I still putz around, just not as well. But someone who's been very involved with children since the beginning of time, I guess. Be it while playing in college. We often did a lot with children, and I've always had a passion with that, continued to coach sports throughout for a long, long period of time, and also mentor a lot of kids. So just for me, there's always just been a soft spot in my heart for kids, children, especially inner city kids, but then even more so, I recognize how great sports was for my life, and how important it was in getting me out of the inner city, and also giving me confidence that I could succeed in this world. So for me, I just feel it's really time to be able to share that and help parents, coaches, kids be able to be the best they can be through sports and academics.
Sounds like a good plan to me. All right, thank you. And your wife is due to have a baby any minute now, is that right? Or you have a little ways to go?
Actually, to the point of where I almost didn't know if I was going to make the call today. So yeah, due the 7th, but it doesn't look like she's going to make it that far. So
February 7th?
Yes, but I'm thinking it's coming in the next 10 days. So.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you. And you are from?
I'm in Denver, Colorado now.
Okay, Denver, great. All right, thank you. Well, good luck with that. If we don't see you next week, we'll know why. So. All right, Gina.
Me?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Gina, and I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I coach high school volleyball and basketball, and I actually went through the double goal coach certification about 5 years ago as a mandatory workshop with the district I was in, and just fell in love with all the philosophy, and I've kept up with the books and everything, and kind of just decided, hey, I can try to balance this with my job and share the wealth of information and stuff. So excited to be here.
All right, thanks. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
All right, and Laura.
Hi, I'm also from Denver. I am a teacher in Denver Public Schools, and I went to a training, also like Gina said, when I was a coach this past fall, and got hooked that way, and learned more through the chapter that way, and it just, as you guys have all said, really speaks to me and my background and why I'm in sports and why I'm in teaching as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And Mary Beth.
Yes. Let me see. So I've been coaching for about 20 years, and for the first 10 years I coached at the college level. And I feel like with my experience as an athlete, I had such a negative experience. It was that negative type coaching. And so I learned the hard way how to actually coach in a more positive manner, and it really helps out quite a bit. So now I'm just trying to continue that and really get the understanding that there's a better way to compete, and there's a and so a friend of mine is a trainer for PCA, so I just thought I would try it. I talked to her about it first, and so we have a lot of good things to be passing along, so I'm pretty excited to be a part of this.
Awesome. And you're from?
I am in Tucson, Arizona right now.
All right. Awesome. And Mike.
Hello there, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, I'm just down the street. I live in Lakewood, Colorado, and I'm a teacher in Jefferson County schools. I've been a teacher for 22 years. I've been a golf coach for 16 years, and like some of the other people, when a speaker from PCA came earlier, or actually at the end of last year for our fall sports, what he said just really rang true to me, and it actually confirmed what I had been thinking in a lot of ways, but it put everything more in context for me. And I was hooked almost from the onset, and I told my wife that I was going to try and join this organization, and she's very excited about it too, because she knows that I'm a big believer in positive coaching, and I'm very competitive, and it was kind of hard to see how you weigh the two, but winning is good, but winning the right way and learning the life lessons, to me, is all that much more important. So I'm just really excited, and I'm ready to get going with the rest of you.
Awesome. And I love the way, a lot of the pushback we get is that we're anti-winning and we're anti-competition. And people always say, oh, you guys are all about character development, not about winning. And I always say, no. If you have looked at our National Advisory Board and you talk to anyone that is a PCA trainer, you will find the most competitive people on the planet. We have the staff meeting every year, the annual staff meeting, and you have never seen a more competitive game of bowling among the staff at PCA in your entire life. So anti-winning is definitely the farthest thing that we are, and I always get that out of the way right away. We do have 2 more people that are going to join us. As they pop in, we'll introduce them. They're texting me saying they're having trouble getting on. So also, just to kind of clarify the Hangouts, this is going to be not the normal time. The normal times for the next few weeks are going to be hopefully set. But I would double check on Monday to make sure the time and dates when I post the weekly announcement on Monday. Definitely check the times and dates, because they're going to be slightly changing. Ruben Nieves and I are going to be running the Hangouts, and we do workshops too, and sometimes they pop up on a Wednesday night when we want to do a Hangout. So we might push it to Thursday or things like that. So most often the Hangouts are going to be scheduled for Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Thursday afternoon at 12 p.m. Eastern, and then Ruben is offered graciously, because there's so many of you on the West Coast this time, to do an evening Pacific time workshop, a Google Hangout. So he's going to be hosting the Wednesday night 7 p.m. Pacific time. Now, other than that one workshop, or the one Google Hangout that Ruben runs at 7 o'clock Pacific time, every time you ever get from me will all be Eastern, because I cannot translate time zones, and Arizona messes me up completely.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It just completely messes me up, because one time you're Pacific and one time you're Mountain, and I used to translate for people, and I decided it's not worth it. So I am in PA. Keep that in mind. If I ever don't write Eastern time, assume that it's Eastern time. So I will not be joining the 7 p.m. Pacific time Hangout, because it will be 10 o'clock at night. So I'm not going to be doing that one. But for those of you that can, I know people work during the day, so that one might work out better for you. All right, Terry, I think, joined us. Hi, Terry, how are you?
Yes, hi, how are y'all?
Great. Would you mind introducing yourself, telling us where you're from? We've already all done it, you missed that fun part. And just letting us know what brought you to PCA. Not to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the
Terry
spot.
Hymas. I'm from Katy, Texas. No, definitely. So Terry Hymas from Katy, Texas. I've been coaching for 10 years over at Katy High School, both football and baseball. PCA. I've been aware of PCA for about 2 years. I met Ben Rose. I've met Albert Johnson over here in Houston. Definitely, I like exactly what PCA stands for, exactly what the goal is ultimately. Being a coach, and we need more of it. So.
All right. Thank you very much. And are you on your phone right now? Is that how it worked to get on?
Yeah.
Okay. No problem.
It finally worked.
Yep. No problem. And I think, Crystal, did you join us?
I am. I'm having a little bit of difficulties myself, but we are here. I don't know if Courtney's joined this one yet.
Yeah, I just joined.
Hey, okay, so we were on another one all together. We
Oh, okay.
two of a kind, sharing each other's thoughts there.
There you go. I got an email from Courtney saying we are here. I'm like, who's we? Who are you with?
That's funny. So I heard a little bit of the question you asked Terry, but I didn't get the front of it.
Just who you are, where you're from, and what brought you to PCA.
Right. Okay. So my name is Crystal Brooks. I am from Houston, Texas, and I got introduced to PCA by Blake Wilson, who's I guess he works here at PCA Houston, and I was doing some research for my son's youth football organization, who I'm a board member for in Pearland, called the Pearland Hurricanes, and so. Working with Blake, and actually AJ's, believe it or not, my neighbor, literally across the street. Not knowing that at the time that AJ was actually involved in PCA, I knew his kids through baseball and other things that he does in the community. So it kind of brought me to PCA, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be a part of the organization and see where that takes us.
All right, thank you. And for those of you who obviously don't know, AJ is each local chapter has an executive director who's basically the business director of the whole office, and then they have a partner manager who's in charge of sales. So AJ is the executive director of the Houston office, and Blake is the sales manager, the partner manager. So you're in, Crystal. You got everybody. You've met half the people that people don't even know yet. So you're already in the gang. All right, and Courtney.
Yeah, I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I actually came home from college, transferred home, go to Ohio State now, and I was asked to coach at my alma mater. So I coach soccer, and senior parents actually had a connection and knew Jim Bucci, the executive director at Cleveland, and after the season, he approached me, thought I'd be a good fit, so I contacted Jim, and we met up, and so here I am.
Awesome.
Ready to get started.
Thanks for joining us. The connections alone between all of you, I don't know if you've got a chance to read the bios, but there's like major Ohio State connections. There's like 5 of you that started in New York and now live all over the country. There's people that like were coaching at the same high school and didn't even know it. Now one's in Seattle and one's in Texas. So wow. it is a really cool thing to be able to connect you guys. I find the sports world is actually very small, and you're going to find connections all over the place with people. So each hangout that we do, I am going to start off with just introductions. We're not going to say, your whole life story, but I am going to start off every hangout just by, naming where you're from, because you don't have to always be on the same hangout. If the afternoon works better for you or whichever evening, feel free to jump on wherever you can. That being said as well, to explain this course to you, I want you to understand that this course is completely for you to become the best trainer that you can be. This is not a pass-fail. I am the sharer of ideas. I'm not necessarily the teacher. So you have no need to impress me whatsoever until the very end. Then you can impress me. But my job right now is to help you. So I am just sharing information from the 150 trainers all over the country, the experience that I've had doing almost 150 workshops, talking to people. Any fantastic ideas that I have, I stole from somebody else. We call it R&D in this business, which is not research and development, but it's rip off and duplicate, because might as well share the same ideas. So if you're ever thinking of an idea, would this work for a workshop? How is this story? Run it past us, and we try to be as kind, warm, and brutally honest as possible. because we want you to succeed as well. And I have gotten much better in the last 2 years of doing this at being extremely honest with people and just saying, you know what, I'm sorry, that story's just too long, or you're just talking about yourself way too much. We need you to bring in the audience, and I want you to tell me more about how that principle would work with a team other than gymnastics, because all we've heard from you are gymnastics examples, or things like that. We want to try to make it real for you. This course is set up to work with your lives. I know you have lives. I know you have families. I know you have school. I know you have jobs. So I try to be as flexible as possible. All of the content learning is going to be done on your own time, whenever you want to. So if it works for you to read cram in all the questions in 1 week, go for it. If you happen to be having a baby, let's just say, for example, and you need to miss a whole week of the course, that's okay. Just come back and fill it in when you can. I understand. I will keep the course kind of paced according to the syllabus that I sent out, just to keep you in line. We're going to be doing one principle each week. So next week we're going to start with the introduction to the workshop. The following week we're going to be doing the Elm Tree of Mastery principle. Next week is filling the emotional tank, and the last week is going to be honoring the game. It really has been neat for me to hear from people that are taking the course that feel like, I know it. I've walked the walk, I've coached it, I've done it. There's a completely different aspect of presenting this to someone else and facilitating a workshop. I have had some of the most amazing coaches, when you see their resumes, it's like, wow, I'm honored to even be in the same course with you. And then they go to deliver the information, and it just does not come across well. They're not connecting to the audience. They have kind of an air of like, I'm here to tell you everything you need to know, and you're all screwing up. And that doesn't really resonate well with audiences. So all I'm saying is I'm here to teach you how to it's a little bit of public speaking, it's a little bit of psychology of audiences, psychology of group dynamics, how to keep people engaged. I am by no means the expert. I think a lot of you probably have a lot more expertise in many of these areas than I do, but I'm just the one that has been given the charge to help you guys out as much as I can. So I don't ever want to hear like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I couldn't make the Hangout. This Hangout is the only chance that we have to get you together live, sharing ideas, tossing things back and forth. The way we used to do training was they would fly me to Cleveland, and I would ask everybody in Cleveland that wanted to be a trainer to come out from a Friday night to a Sunday afternoon, and we would do trainer boot camp. And we would have about 20 trainers come out, and we would say, okay, before the training that's going to happen in a month, I want you to read the entire book front to cover. I want you to possibly look at our online course like a lot of you did. And I want you to be ready to present. And here's the PowerPoint. And out of 20 people that would come out to these boot camp training sessions, we would certify probably 3. Now, when I first came on board with PCA, being the teacher that I was and the guidance counselor, any of you that are teachers realize 3 out of 20 success stories does not roll well with me. And what I realized was it's just not enough time. So spreading this out over 6 weeks isn't supposed to be more laborious for you. It's actually supposed to make life easier on you. So you can just focus on one principle at a time. And during that week that we're working on, for example, when we're working on the Elm Tree of Mastery, a lot of folks have said that it's been really neat because they try out the principles. If they're coaching, if they're teaching on their children, on their spouse, they try them out and they see what works. Because when you take it in one big lump of a workshop, it's a lot of information. But it's been really neat to hear people that say, gosh, when I can just focus on that one principle for the week, and I can pay attention to coaches that I see and how little they actually use some of this stuff, it really, really helps. So that's why we spread it out. The Hangouts are for you. I also highly encourage you to read others' responses. And I think I've said that already in an email. But what I'm kind of trying to explain, if I'm not doing it well, is that at the end of 6 weeks, that's going to be your chance to impress us. At the end of 6 weeks, you're going to be given the opportunity to facilitate a mock workshop on a Google Hangout. So Ruben Nieves is the director of training. He's out in California. Eric Eisendrath, he's up in New England, and myself are the 3 national trainers. And 1 or 2 of us, or all 3 of us, are going to be on the Hangout with hopefully a few of you guys in there too that want to jump in just to be an audience. And you're going to put us through 20 minutes of a workshop. So you could choose to do the introduction to the workshop. You could choose the Elm Tree of Mastery, filling the emotional tanks, or honoring the game. And it's going to be as realistic as possible. We're going to be your audience. You're going to ask us questions. I've had people that have stood up in the corner of a room and moved around the room and just, we work with you, whatever you feel comfortable doing. I know sitting in a desk in front of a computer is not the most realistic to a workshop, but we try to be as realistic as possible when we're answering your questions. And you're going to see throughout the course how I model, how I would do it. So that's your time to shine. Whatever you do up until that point is up to you, however much you want to put into it. But that's it. At the end of the mock presentation or the mock facilitation that you do for us for like the final exam week, there's 3 options. One of the options is that we think you are so awesome and so ready to go, and we're so confident in your abilities that we certify you. And you are given the opportunity to go out and facilitate your own live workshop, which happens rarely, but the last course we had 28 people and we certified 2 right after the mock workshop. We said, you know what, you guys are awesome, you're ready to go. Your very first workshop that you do for PCA, we put a mentor trainer with you anyway. So you do the entire workshop from beginning to end, but we have a mentor certified trainer there just to have your back. So that's not the most common option, but it happens. And I know all of you competitors are like, that's going to be me, I'm going to do it. Don't worry about that. I think the better option to do, and the option that most of us do, is out of the course, you become an associate trainer. And an associate trainer is put into a live workshop with a certified trainer, and you present 1 principle. This is like 90% of the people that come through this course, this is what they do. The 2, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the 2 that were certified right away, they did public speaking workshops for a living. So it was just a matter of taking our content and plugging it into their awesomeness already, which a lot of you guys already have too. So most of you will come out of the mock workshop and we'll say, great, you're ready to go. We'll put you into a live workshop in your local area with a certified trainer, and you would pick the principle of your choice that you would like to do for 20 minutes of that workshop, and the other trainer would do all the rest. So it's kind of like a co-presenting, co-facilitation type situation. After that, we ask that trainer, how do you think Joe did? And they would either say, well, I think next time, the next outing, maybe they should do 2 principles. Or the next time they could do all 3 principles, and we'll take the introduction and the closing. Or they might say, certify him, he's ready to go, or she's ready to go. The other option, at the end, there's 3 options. So certification is one option. Associate trainer status is the most common option. And the third one is that we say, we don't quite feel that you're ready yet, and we would like to see you try it again before we feel that you're ready to be in front of a live audience. Because this business is difficult. We are the product that PCA sells. We really are. We are the movement. The trainers are the face of PCA. And this is a nonprofit organization. We don't sell big commercials. Actually, I always used to joke that we don't put our commercials on the Super Bowl, but now Fox Sports Network has given us the wonderful privilege of being their nonprofit of the year. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but during the football game, the Fox News game that was this weekend, we had a big publicity stunt during halftime, which was awesome, a spot on their commercial. So that's going to be showing up on Fox News, which is super exciting. But other than that, being a nonprofit organization and having this message that is kind of a love-hate relationship with a lot of people coming into it, a trainer can make or break a workshop and can make or break the reputation of this company. So there's a lot of times when we would send a trainer in to a workshop, and we have to make sure that you are representing PCA well, you're representing yourself well, everything from attitude to the way you're dressed, the way you look, the way you talk, everything has to really represent excellence. So before we feel confident in you doing that, we might ask you to come back and practice a few more times. So, a lot being said there. That's pretty much the Hangouts. That's pretty much the course. I'll pause for a minute to see if you guys have any questions. And if you ever have a question in a Google Hangout, just kind of put your hand in front of your face and I'll make sure I call you. Because the downside of these Hangouts is 2 people can't talk at once. It takes the person who's the loudest, I think, and put you up on the screen and nobody else can hear you. So if you ever have a question or anything, just put your hand up and I'll see you. Questions about kind of the structure of this? I must be really good at explaining stuff. All right. I said that this afternoon. I said, any questions? And everyone said no. And then after the Hangout, I got emailed like 4 questions to me. So that's okay, too. You can always email me questions later. All right. Second thing, just to explain sort of the structure of PCA in the country, for those of you that don't know, we now have 15 chapters in the United States. And the chapters are considered our local chapters. Our national office is in Mountain View, California, right near San Francisco. And that is kind of where all the big decisions are made. That's where Jim Thompson and Tina Sire, Jim Thompson, obviously the founder and president of the company, and all of his staff work. Myself, Eric, and Ruben are part of the lead training staff. So The other chapters around the country all have their own staff, and not every geographical area in the country has one. If you want to know if yours has one, you've probably been contacted by somebody from that office already to say, hey, would you like to be a trainer? That's usually how most trainer candidates come to us. If you're not sure, I'll get you in touch with that person. But we also have another little chapter office called Out of Territory. We have some people, for example, like in Atlanta or Seattle, Washington, or North Carolina, where these people are just fantastic. They want to be a part of the movement. We don't have a chapter exactly where you are, but it's either coming in the future or we're ready to send you out to travel to another area to get experience doing workshops. So the exciting news is yesterday New York launched. It was our 15th chapter, and so exciting to have a chapter in New York City. Even more exciting because I got to be there, which was really cool. I haven't been there for a chapter launch before. So the neat thing is that it's partnering with the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks and the New York Yankees have given PCA lots of money to start a chapter there, which is really awesome. So we had Phil Jackson there at the board meeting, which was super exciting. And I tried to get a picture on my computer and I couldn't, so I'm going to brag and show you my picture. Look at that. That's me and Phil. That's the coolest thing ever. So that was from yesterday. And Claudio Reina, for you soccer fans, he was there too. Steve Mills, general manager of the Knicks, he was there, and about 11 other board members were there. So it was really exciting. Jim Thompson came, and it was really neat just to see how a chapter really starts from nothing and grows. But even more exciting is that there's, there's like 10 more coming in the next 4 years, which is fantastic news. So that's pretty much the structure. Executive director of each chapter runs the show financially. The partner manager salesperson gets the partnerships with the youth sports organizations, the high schools, the private schools, the colleges, whoever would like to have a partnership with PCA. So they're in charge of the sales. And then Ruben, Eric, and I sort of divide the trainers throughout the country. So Ruben, typically, if you kind of think of it this way, Ruben's got west of the Mississippi, Eric's got east of the Mississippi, and I'm kind of split to a couple different places. So we are actually in charge of certain chapters. I kind of have the Mid-Atlantic region and Cleveland. For some reason, they gave me Cleveland. So that's exciting for me. Eric is more New England. He also is in charge of Tampa, Minnesota, and Chicago. And then Ruben has sort of the West Coast and the rest of the area out there. The reason I'm telling you who's kind of in charge of that area is after you're certified with this first coaching workshop, if you would like to be certified in subsequent workshops. Let's say you really connect well with high school athletes and you say, I really want to be doing these athlete triple impact competitor workshops, and you would contact your lead trainer and we would get you certified for the next workshop. The next certification does not take 6 weeks. It's not a course that you go through like this one. Once you understand the core principles of the coach workshop, you will be able to translate them to the other workshops. We basically send you the book that goes along with the workshop. We'll send you the PowerPoint, and each of the PowerPoints has notes at the bottom of every slide. We ask you to read through the trainer notes, practice, come up with some fantastic ideas on how you would engage these parents and athletes, and then you would give one of us a call or a Google Hangout and just go over it with us and explain sort of how you would go through the workshop. If we feel that you're ready, then you're certified in the next one. So that's sort of how the certification process works through PCA. One last little blob, and then I feel like I'm talking way too much here. My grandmother always said you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so listen twice as much as you talk, and here I'm doing all the talking. But last thing is, and someone asked me earlier about applying for workshops in your area. I'm not trying to put the cart in front of the horse, but I figured it's a question a lot of people have. The way that trainers get assigned to workshops for PCA is you apply. So we have a database called the Workshop Manager System, and you would go on that website, and it has a list of all the workshops in the United States. So you can sort it out just like you could a spreadsheet. You can sort it out by geographical area, you can sort it out by high school name, you can sort it out by what type of a workshop it is, and you look to see if there's a workshop in your area that works with your schedule, and it's one that you're certified in, and you apply for it. So you would click on the workshop, it would automatically send it to Sonia, who is our trainer manager out in California, and then she does the placements. Now, someone else said, is it first come, first serve? It is not first come, first serve. We really try to please our partners. So we try to match the trainer that would do the best for that audience. So that would mean that if I have a background in field hockey and basketball and lacrosse and track, so they're probably not going to send me out to be the first one to do a football workshop. But they might. You never know. My very first workshop was 40 football coaches, 40 high school football coaches, and there you go. You're doing it. So The other thing is, too, we also try to match, male, female to an audience, like an all-girls school. A lot of times we do some private all-girls schools. We'd like to send out a female trainer. Sometimes the partner will ask, I would like an African-American male who's played football. Trainer, do you have one of those? So sometimes the trainer is actually very specific about what they would like. Other times they'll say, we need someone that has a soccer background. Although PCA is not really teaching the X's and O's of the sport, it does help to know a lot about the sport that you're talking about, just to give examples, and so that you're not calling it a field goal when it's a free kick, and you're not calling it a touchdown when it's a basket, because that kills our credibility. So this course is another way. If you are not familiar with a lot of sports, find the people in this course that have an expertise in the sport that you don't know, and ask them lots of questions and read lots of their answers and save things, which has been great for me because I was not a swimmer, and now I'm the parent of 4 swimmers. And so through these 7 courses that I've done, I've learned so much about parenting swimmers, and it's been all from this course, so it's been fantastic. And swimming coaches that I've worked with. So now I'm like the best second goal swim mom ever. All right. That is how you apply for workshops. That's how it works. We try to work with geographical area too. We don't like to send trainers more than 100 miles to do a workshop. We'd like to send one to you in your backyard every day, but that doesn't always happen. So as you get better and more familiar, we would kind of let you know, if you're willing to travel. Some areas, I can't even believe how spread apart Texas is sometimes. When I look on a map to see where some of these people live, I'm like, holy cow. And the people in Texas say, I'll drive 4 hours to do a workshop. I'm like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. But apparently that's common for workshop in Texas and Colorado. Not around where I live, but if you're willing to travel a little bit, we're happy to have you travel. So I will pause again, take a deep breath, and fire them at me. Do you have questions? Yes, Courtney.
Since this is for like the double goal coach, when I talked to Jim Bucci, he said that I would probably be doing athletes since I am only 20 years old and I have only coached for 1 season. In this course, is it okay if I apply my experiences more towards athletes?
Absolutely. Yep, you would. And that being said, too, this has actually changed over the years in PCA. Years ago, we used to only look for trainers that could do every workshop. So we were looking for the perfect person that could talk to coaches, parents, and athletes and connect with all of them. Well, as you might imagine, that's not the easiest person to find. And now that the chapters have grown, and most chapters have at least 5 to 10 trainers, sometimes more, we found that a team of trainers is a much better approach. So we're starting to recruit younger trainers like yourself. I think you missed it in the beginning, but we had another trainer that was 19 years old in the last course, and it worked very, very well down in Tampa. And it was actually really neat for some coaches that have been coaching for 30 plus years to finally have the perspective of a 19-year-old to say, whoa, 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 this is what you need to do here. This is because you're right in it. You were just there. So that was really beneficial as well. We have a few trainers that have gone through this course, and because of where they live, for example, in Phoenix was a new chapter recently, and they sold loads and loads and loads of athlete workshops, and we only had like 2 trainers that were certified in athlete workshops. So I had 3 trainers coming out of, I think it was course 6, a few months ago, and we certified them in the Triple Impact Competitor Athlete Workshop first before they even did Double Goal Coach 1. All the principles are the same. It's just how you phrase it and how you frame it, and it's a different PowerPoint and it's a different book. But it really is by need of the chapter. So, we do make exceptions if we need them to. So yes, we know that you're not used to, coaching at the professional level, so we're with you. We'll pick your brain for other reasons. Other questions? Yes, Greg, go ahead.
Do you actually keep that sign up in the background at all times or just for your meetings?
I have to tell you, so my children were busting on me because these Google Hangouts are public domain. So when I've got 4 kids, and they go on their phone and they go on YouTube and they just Google. And the one day my daughter came down and she's like, Mom, I just watched you do a Google Hangout. She's like, the Hangout was great, but the background was horrible because behind this sign is my calendar of everything that I do, and it's got scribble scrabbles, whiteboard all over it. She's like, you need a better background. So this was actually her idea, to hang up my sign behind me so that I can hide my ugly calendar. And it's supposed to look, professional. So she actually came in right before this Hangout and said, Mom, I like the sign. It looks good. So that's the reason for the sign. Yes, my wallpaper is actually PCA everywhere. No. I work from a home office as well. So if you hear a dog barking or a child screaming, it's 8 o'clock at night and it's bedtime around here for these nighttime hangouts. So Usually my kids get very good at walking in and sneaking me sticky notes when they need something, and I try to be real slick and send them back out. But. All right, other questions? Yes. Go ahead, Mike.
I have a comment. I guess I was overly enthusiastic, and I spoke with Ruben and did the audition with him, and he said, all right, you're going to do the double goal coaching to start. Well, I misinterpreted it when you guys sent me the online courses. I just figured do them all. So I took a few weeks and did all of them.
That's awesome.
And, it really, they do tie together, and I feel like I've got a wealth of information. Now, imparting it will be the next step, but they all really do fit together, and I guess my mistake actually I think will help me in the long run. Mm-hmm. The only one I had a little trouble with was the officiating one, and I have done
do them all.
but that was the only one that I struggled with. Otherwise, doing them all the odd way I did was, I think, beneficial accidentally.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, I would even suggest, like, for example, Courtney, if you want to do the online Triple Impact Competitor Workshop, the athlete workshop, that's a great idea to do. Or if any of you want to do the parent one, we can get you access to be able to do any of those workshops. And if you have a long weekend or a few weeks to spend, feel free to do them. It can only help. I really do like in the coaches workshop talking from the perspective of the parents and talking about the athletes. So they really do all blend together, and it also helps you when you're trying to talk to coaches who don't have kids to have a parent perspective on that as well, to kind of be the mind and the voice for the parents of the kids that they're coaching. So thanks, Mike. That was a great input there. All right. Any other questions off the top of your head? I have a few more things on my agenda, but if you have any questions, I don't want to keep going. So far, so good? Okay.
Actually, one last one.
Go ahead, sure.
Are you going to have the ability, let's say you're having a baby, and
which I am not.
You want to be able to see these, are these being recorded to where I could go back and listen?
They absolutely are, yes. So I'm going to pick, I don't want to confuse you, what I do for Monday's announcement each week is I give the assignment and the reading assignment for the following week, and I will also include the link to watch the recorded hangout from the previous week. So there are 3 hangouts. I used to do all 3 myself, and I would just pick the one that went the best, and that's the link I would give you, so you're not watching all of them. Ruben is going to be recording his as well, and I will be recording probably one of mine. So this one tonight right now is being recorded because I figured we'd have the most people on it. So I will send you the link. If for some reason you don't want to wait till Monday to get the link, like let's say you weren't available Thursday but you're free on Friday and you want to watch it, just shoot me an email and say, can I have the link, and I'll send it right to you. It's not a problem. And again, you can search it. You can just go on Google and search it. I'm sorry, YouTube. It's actually my YouTube channel that they get saved to. So type in my name. You can be I think somebody else already friended me on YouTube. But you can watch ones from previous courses. You can, if you're not going to be here one week, and you're just so anxious to find out the information, you can watch Google Hangouts recorded from 3 or 4 courses ago. I've gotten comments like, wow, I really liked your hair short. I'm like, what? And they've watched like my Hangouts from a year ago. So yeah, absolutely. You can. They're all searchable and findable. So we have them for you. And it is helpful. Just if you think of it, let me know. Like, I'm not around next week. That just helps me know you didn't fall off the face of the earth. If you just say, hey, I'm busy, or I'm out of town, or I just can't, I'm not going to be able to participate next week, just shoot me a quick email just so I know. All right, so I'm going to keep going. And then again, we've got about 15 minutes, so I'm going to just blow through a few of the things I have. Stop me if you have any questions. Real quick about the course. One of the things that I did do, and you probably are all thanking me without even knowing it, is I switched all of you to the abridged version of the emails. So you might have noticed the first day you got every single person's email. I like to do that on the first day just so that you know how many emails come, and it's kind of like social learning theory. So if you see a certain number of people start to answer the questions, you're like, oh, I better do it too. So that's why I keep it the first day, but I switched you all so that now you all get 1 email a day. And you should have received it. I used to receive it at 5 o'clock at night. I don't know what time it comes. But it's a summary of all the new postings. The only downside to that is that if I post something, for all of you to get, you don't get it until that one summary. So I know sometimes it's easy to just kind of, delete it and blow through it, but just scroll through it real quick, and if you see something, usually I'll put like important or immediate or something like if a time for a Hangout has changed or there's something I really think you should see. Other than that, most of the time it'll just be people's responses to their questions. And so it'll just come once a day. If any of you would really love to get every single email, every single answer that comes from all the people in this course, let me know and I'll change it back. If any of you don't want to receive any emails, the other option is that you receive no email. And you can access the course right through the course website. So if you have been logged into the course and you've seen that home page that has, welcome to PCA Trainer Course 8, and then at the bottom of the page it says weekly discussion questions and announcements, I would suggest you just bookmark that page on your computer, and then you don't have to go through trying to log into it every time. If you bookmark that page, you don't have to receive emails. You can just go on that website anytime you want to access anything in the course. So I would suggest if you're answering, don't just email it from your computer. Don't email the response back because sometimes it doesn't make it to the actual website on the course. Does that make sense? Sorry if it's confusing, but that's how that works. The other thing is when you answer a question, please don't mark completed. A lot of people click completed thinking it's completed for you, but sometimes that actually shuts down and doesn't allow other people to answer the question. It kind of means like the question's closed. So at the end, there's a little check mark that says completed. Don't worry about writing completed. The other thing, if you check off completed, you can't go back and edit. And I've asked a few of you that wrote your bios to rewrite it in the third person because that's actually going to be used by a partner to introduce you. So I wanted you to write it as if, Greg is from Denver, Colorado and played these sports. So I've asked some of you to go back and edit. And if you mark completed, then you can't go back and edit. Not the end of the world, just makes things easier. Again, if you want to read other people's comments, I encourage you to do that. If you'd like to make a comment, I don't need you to comment on every single person. There's no need to brown nose me whatsoever. So don't feel like, okay, I have to say it so that Kelly sees that I responded to everybody. I don't need that. I taught middle school and elementary school long enough to get all these little, kids that are like, oh, Mrs. Gratz, guess what I did? Guess what I did? I don't need that. However, if you find that something really inspired you or you feel moved to comment on it, like, wow, I never thought of that, that's a great idea, or hey, guess what, I played for that coach too, or that was a great idea, but how could I use it with my basketball team? Anything like that, welcome. Please comment on it. The best way to do that is just click a reply underneath where the person posted it and put their name, because what it does is it lists them all in order. So your comment, even if the person put their answer, like the second answer, it's going to put their comment at the very bottom. So just put, hey, Courtney, or hey, Mary Beth, great answer, so that we can see who it's directed to. The only other thing is the syllabus that I gave you is an outline, and the outline is basically how this course is going to run. It could change, a little bit of dates and a little bit of questions could change as the course goes along, but mostly it's a good guide of where we're going and where we're heading. So that you should all have. On Monday, I'm going to share with you a folder, a Google folder that has a lot of different resources in it. You're not going to need everything all at once, but in that folder is going to be the course syllabus again, in case you didn't get it or you can't find the email. It's going to be the SMAC recipe, which we call the SMAC recipe is borrowed from a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins, if some of you are familiar with that. And it stands for systematic, methodical, and consistent. So it is a plan that Jim Collins recommends that every business have to keep things consistent and methodical and systematic and things to happen in a fantastic way. Well, we have come up with one for a SMAC recipe for excellent PCA workshops. And it's 11 steps that if you really can do these 11 steps, no matter how you want to dress it up and what kind of personality and flair you want to throw into it, you will have an excellent workshop. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in the Hangouts and as things go on. That's going to be in that folder. Also in that folder will be the 2 PowerPoints. It's one PowerPoint, excuse me. Double Goal Coach 1 is one PowerPoint, but there's a Mac version and there's a PC version. So make sure when you open up that folder on Monday to download the PowerPoint to your own computer, make sure you have the right version. Because if you don't, the videos are going to get messed up. That's, I think, the only problem is sometimes the fonts are off and the videos won't play if you download the Mac version on your PC. Feel free to download both if you have both. I have somebody in the last course that didn't own a laptop and they downloaded it on her iPad and it worked fine. They had PowerPoint on their iPad and it worked well that way too. So however you want to do it, we want you to be able to see it. During the Google Hangouts, I'm going to have my computer monitor here, so you don't have to have the PowerPoint open. If we're talking about slides 1 to 10, I just go through it as if it were a workshop, and you'll be able to see it and see the videos. If you can look at it beforehand, that's beneficial to look at the PowerPoint, but don't feel like you need to have, double screens and all that stuff up so you can do the Hangout and see the PowerPoint. Other than that, if there's anything else you need during the course of the course, I'm going to put it in that folder. So you'll have access to that folder anytime you need to. I think the only other thing in that folder is a document that has little YouTube clips of trainers all around the country doing snippets of workshops. So a lot of you, I was actually surprised, a lot of you I saw in your application have not been to a live workshop, which is so cool, I think. Most people that want to become trainers have been to a workshop and they say, oh, this is awesome, I want to do this. And I think more than half of you have said, no, I just love the mission of PCA, I've never been to a live workshop. So I have this document that has little YouTube clips of videos of trainers all over the country delivering different parts of our workshops. They're not all the coach workshops, most of them are, but I know I even put in clips from a Triple Impact Competitor workshop that I did. So you'll be able to see what that is too. All right, so we've got course stuff, syllabus, SMAC, PowerPoint. I think that I am good. All right, I'm going to stop again for questions. Anything?
You're using your smack powers and ending 5 minutes early.
You got it. I absolutely am. Yes. What I want to end with, and I know that I asked you a question. I still have 2 minutes to my 5 minutes early. I asked you a question this week of what do you look for when you go to a workshop? What do you like most? That's actually a question that I will come back and refer to you on. I keep copies of those because I love it when people tell me I like engaging presenters. I like them to show passion and energy and tell great stories and get us involved. And then 6 weeks of the course go by, and then they're ready to do their final mock presentation, and it's a 20-minute lecture. Or it's a 20-minute story about themselves. And they have not asked me one question. They have not asked me to move or clap or do anything. And I sit there and think, really, would you want to listen to you for an hour and a half? So I will refer back to that a few times, and I want you to think about that. When nerves kick in, our lips flap. And that's one thing that I really, really, really will stress. There's nothing that can kill a workshop more than boredom, and we try very hard not to bore our audiences because this is not a lecture. Many of you have been running clinics for years and years and years. Baseball clinics, lacrosse clinics, softball clinics. This is not a clinic. This is a workshop. And the most valuable part of the workshop are the coaches that are in your audience. And if you add together all the experiences, stories, you don't have to have any stories. You can use all of their stories, and you can run a fantastic workshop and never say a word about yourself. However, most of you said, I really like workshops or presentations I've been to where the presenter tells great stories. Storytelling is an art and tells a story in a way that I can connect with. One of the best things that I personally connect with, and I find a lot of people connect with, especially when you're in the role of being the expert in the room, is when you admit a failure. You admit a mistake that you made, because a lot of people coming in to these workshops are going to think that you're going to tell them all these things they should not do, especially parents. Parents have given pushback and said, I don't want to go to a Positive Coaching Alliance workshop because you're going to tell me I'm not allowed to yell at my kid, and you're going to tell me I'm crazy, and you're going to tell me because my first grader's playing baseball all year round, that's not the right thing to do. So one of the things we like to do is get rid of all of those ideas and really think about how do we meet the audience where they are and make it a positive experience. This is called the Positive Coaching Alliance for a reason. So one of the things that we try to encourage you to do right off the bat is just start with a positive tone. And if you don't, these Positive Coaching Alliance workshops can start out as a really crazy coach bashing, parent bashing, athlete bashing sessions, because there is so much great material. Anytime you turn on the news, you can see awesome material on why we have job security in Positive Coaching Alliance. But it can really escalate. And it was interesting because even at the New York board meeting yesterday, these are all board members that have put a substantial amount of money into being on the PCA board. They're so passionate about this mission. And we had them go around and say what brought them to PCA. And I was paying close attention because I was getting up to present kind of a fake part of a workshop to them afterwards. Every single person said something negative. There was a negative reason that they wanted to change in sports, and that's why they came here. And if you start out your workshops with the assumption that everybody in the audience is doing something wrong, that's going to come across. If you come to a workshop with the idea that there's a lot of great stuff happening out there and we want more great things to happen, you don't even need to mention a lot of the negatives because they already know what they are. It would just change the tone of the workshop, and you're going to get more buy-in from your audience. Because that one dad or that one coach that's sitting there knowing he's the coach that screams and yells and rants and rages and throws his clipboard and subs out kids, if you start talking about a coach like that, where is every eye in the audience going to go to? They're going to look right over at him, and it's going to embarrass him, and he's not going to be responsive. So we want you to just have an air of positivity. Yeah, bring up a crazy story every once in a while. That's kind of fun. But as long as the overall theme is we're here to educate you, we're here to share research with you, we're here to share the best practices of coaches and athletes that are at the highest point in their game, and I'm here to share with you ideas that I've learned from some of the best coaches to get your little people motivated to go out and give their best effort every single time, regardless of what the scoreboard says. Because we have found, and research has proven, that if you use some of these principles and methods, the kids are going to play better. Peak performance is what we're looking for, which will result in more wins on the scoreboard. So that's sort of the tone that I just want you to start thinking about, because it is much more fun to bring up the dirt and the crazy stories and the psycho parents. My husband, actually, I've said to him before, you should be a PCA trainer. He was a Division I swimmer, and he's been a coach for all these years. And he said, I don't think I could walk into a room knowing that there's crazy parents and coaches in there and not scream at them. I said, well, it does take self-control, but it is hard, and you're going to get pushback. It's not an easy job to do, but I really want you to know that you guys have been chosen for a reason. There's a lot of people that apply to be PCA trainers, and there's a lot of people right off the bat that we go, nah, not the right fit. So you have been chosen, even though you applied, you have been chosen and handpicked, and we don't tell everybody that they can be a PCA trainer. So you have impressed us in one way or another, and we're excited to get started, and we are so excited about your passion and you sharing this with lots of people all over the place, because our mission is to impact 20 million people by 2020. And we can do it, and it's spreading like wildfire because it's working. So thank you so much. Every time we do a Hangout, I usually stay on for like the next 5 minutes. So those of you that have to go, please go. Those of you that, if you have a question or something individual that you don't think the whole group needs to hear about, I'll be here for 5 extra minutes if you have a question for me. If you think of something tonight or tomorrow, shoot me an email or text or whatever you want to do. Give me a call, and I'm usually available. If I'm not, I'll let you know. I'll just say I'll talk to you tomorrow or get back to me. I try very, very, very hard not to work on weekends. So unless it's a true emergency and you send me an email on a Saturday morning, I will probably not respond to you. So just to let you know. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I'm excited to get started, and I'll post the new assignments and everything for Monday. But keep up the good work. I'm loving all the discussion answers you're already putting out there. I'm really excited. So good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good night.
Night, everybody.
Oh, yeah.